events. This session is a conversation with DLSS, presented by Luz Cadena. This session will be recorded so that you may come back to it later if you need, and so others who may have missed out on today's events will be able to come back and watch it. Thank you for joining us today. So now, at this time, we ask that you please mute your mics for the best sound experience. Otherwise, that feedback could interfere with the information we'll be sharing with you today. Without further ado, here is our presenter, Ms. Luz Cadena.
Hello, good afternoon, and thank you for having me. If it's okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. There we go. So thank you for that lovely introduction. Again, my name is Luz Cadena. I am the Director of Distance Learning Support Services, or you can simply call us Distance Learning because I know that is a bit of a mouthful. So the Distance Learning Support Services Department is the department that oversees Blackboard. We oversee Blackboard. We provide training for faculty and in some cases staff on the use of Blackboard and any third-party integrated tools such as Respondus Lockdown Browser, Class Collaborate, UJA, and Smarter Measure. Those are the technologies that we oversee. I know that because we work with technologies, there may be some out there who assume we are part of the IT department. We are not part of the IT department. We are an instructional department. And because of that, the scope of the technologies that we deal with are pretty narrow, just the ones that I listed. So if you do need assistance or help with any other kind of technology at the college, such as your college-issued device, laptop, desktop, your EPCC login credentials, issues with banner, self-service banner, my EPCC, the website, etc. All of those questions, all of those issues should be brought to the attention of the EPCC IT department or EPCC IT help desk. Okay. So I want to just take a moment to go through a few slides with distance learning, see if you have any questions, and then of course we can also go into Blackboard so that I can show you some of the most recent updates that have been made to Blackboard with regard to the user interface. Okay, so let's move on here. So Distance Learning Support Services, as I mentioned earlier, we oversee the Blackboard learning management system. While we are called distance learning, we don't oversee distance learning or online courses. Online courses are overseen by the academic departments that offer those courses, specifically the academic deans at the various campuses. So distance learning does not create the courses per se, assign faculty to courses, enroll students to courses. That is all done by the instructional deans and of course by the registration department. Distance learning's role with regard to online, hybrid, or even Blackboard enhanced courses is that we make sure all the data, the courses, the users gets into the Blackboard system. And then of course we assist faculty with the development of their courses if they need some help, whether it's technical issues or instructional design support. And we provide back-end support in that way. And for students, we provide front-end support, if you will. If students are experiencing technical issues with their Blackboard courses, something's not working, something's not opening as it should, students, of course, can contact our office so that we can take a look at what's going on with Blackboard. In many cases, it's not necessarily a technical issue. A lot of the common issues we've been experiencing lately are browser issues. For example, making sure that you clean your browser history out at least once a week to clear the cache and the cookies, because our browsers tend to become a little muddied after using it for so long, and it can slow down and interfere with the functionality of our browsers. So that's really, really important. You also want to make sure you keep your devices up to date. That's another big one we've been experiencing, especially iPads. For anyone out there who uses an iPad, you want to make sure you run and install your updates, because that will prevent you, if you don't do that, that's going to prevent you from completing certain activities in Blackboard. One of the big issues is Respondus, Lockdown Browser, and Monitor. If you do not update your iPad, it's not going to work. So keeping your devices, whether it's a Mac or a Windows device, updated, running those updates is going to be really, really important. Okay. Let's move on here. And please, by all means, you have any questions, post them in the chat or turn on your mic. So as I mentioned, Blackboard is our learning management system. We have been a Blackboard school for about 20 years, even before I started working at distance learning. And Blackboard has certainly evolved with time. It has changed. It has become much, much better. In 2023, we completed our transition to Blackboard Ultra. Some of you may not even remember what Blackboard Learn Original looks like anymore. I have very faint ideas because we've been on Ultra for quite some time now, but we are ahead of the game compared to many institutions around the world that use Blackboard. We were kind of one of the first colleges or institutions of higher learning to transition to Ultra, and as such, our Ultra certification training for faculty has become quite popular, and we have several schools, especially in Texas, but across the country, who have requested a copy of our training so that they can transition their schools over to Ultra. So EPCC is pretty well known in the Blackboard world because we tend to be innovators, so we're really, really proud of that. But again, if you have any questions about Blackboard, you can always contact our office. And a little bit later in the slide, I'll show you some contact information so that you can reach out to us. Now, Blackboard is a web app, and it is web agnostic or browser agnostic, which means you can use Blackboard on any kind of device as long as you have the internet and as long as you have a web browser. So whether you use Google Chrome, Firefox, those are the two that I use. If you're a Mac user, you're going to want to use Safari because Safari is the native browser, but you can also access Blackboard from your mobile device. Ultra is responsive, so you can very easily use Blackboard on your mobile device. I don't recommend that you do that because they're so small, but in a pinch, if you need to submit a quick question to your instructor through a course message or do a response or discussion board, and you don't have the ability to get access to a laptop or a desktop, you can certainly access Blackboard through your phone and complete some basic coursework. But I don't recommend completing tests, submitting essays, and those kinds of things through your mobile device. So every semester, distance learning used to put out a handbook for students. Now we're doing it by academic year. So we have our Learning with Blackboard 2025-2026 student handbook. You can certainly scan that QR code and take a look at the handbook. If for some reason the QR code doesn't work, you can certainly email us at dlss@epcc.edu and just ask for a copy of the handbook and we can send it to you. You can also access the handbook through the Assist page on Blackboard. Now, the handbook is a great resource, especially for anyone who's new to EPCC. And even if you aren't taking online courses, I'm going to place a bet that you're probably going to have experience with Blackboard anyway. Many faculty who teach face-to-face or on-campus courses enhance their courses with Blackboard, either to provide students material so that they don't have to waste a lot of paper in printing items. They share videos. They may even have you submit assignments through Blackboard, even though the course is being taught face-to-face. So even if you aren't teaching, taking online courses, you're probably going to have some experience with Blackboard. So this handbook benefits all students at EPCC. It has things like important dates, important contact information if you do need some help, some helpful tips with dealing with Blackboard, and helpful tips with taking online courses and using other technologies supported by distance learning. So that handbook is a great handbook just to keep in your back pocket. Download it to your computer. Again, you can quickly access it through the Assist page in Blackboard, and it's a great resource for you to refer to if you ever have some questions. Now, EPCC does have a Blackboard help desk. The Blackboard help desk is contracted through Blackboard. So the Blackboard help desk is not staffed by EPCC staff. It is staffed by Blackboard professionals. And you can reach the Blackboard help desk at 1-888-296-0863. You've probably seen a Blackboard help desk poster somewhere on campus. You can access the Blackboard help desk via that phone number 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But I want to make sure it's clear that the Blackboard help desk is just there to support technical issues. If something isn't working in Blackboard, if the issue is I'm registered for a course but it's not showing on Blackboard, that isn't quite a technical issue. It's more of a registration issue, and that needs to be addressed with distance learning directly or with the registrar's office. But the help desk really is only when something is not working in Blackboard. For example, you're trying to attach your paper, your essay, to submit it to your instructor for grading, and that button isn't working, for example. That is a technical issue. And you always want to write down your ticket number, because your ticket number is the evidence that you went to the Blackboard help desk to try to resolve your issue. And should your instructor say, you know, how do I know for sure that you were having this issue? You can say, Professor, here's my ticket number. Here's the evidence that I did call the Blackboard help desk. The Blackboard help desk usually also follows up with you via email. You can also easily forward that email to your instructor as documentation that you were experiencing a technical issue. I will show you a little bit later how there is also a chat bot available to you so that you can also ask questions from an AI chatbot. And if the AI chatbot cannot answer your questions, you can then opt to chat with a human being at the Blackboard help desk. So I'll show you how to access that shortly. That particular chatbot is fairly new, okay? So for those of you who are taking fully online courses, you've probably had some experience with Respondus Lockdown Browser and Monitor. Respondus Lockdown Browser and Monitor is a third-party software application that we've contracted, and this is test proctoring software. This is to help keep a level playing field. It's not necessarily to catch cheaters. It's just to make sure that everyone is following testing instructions so that testing is fair. If you're having to use your brain power to take the test, then everyone else in the course should be also relying on brain power to take that test. So again, it's about a level playing field. But this is also to confirm your identity. When you're taking online courses, you've never met your instructor face-to-face. They've never met you. And so they don't know if you are the person who is registered for the course. So when an instructor is asking you to use Respondus Lockdown Browser and Monitor, they're going to ask you to show your ID. And this is just to confirm that the person taking the test is a person registered for the course. Again, this is only meant to keep a level playing field. And it's also meant to help prevent the use of unauthorized materials. There are some instructors like myself, because I do teach here at the college, who allow open book tests. I do allow open book tests, but other instructors may not. So they want to make sure that everyone is following the testing procedure. And that's why Lockdown Browser and Monitor are helpful, okay? Now, I do want to make it very clear that while Respondus Monitor does record you while you're to your test, no one sees those videos except for your instructor. Your instructor is only going to check them to make sure that you are following instructions. And those videos are stored safely on the Respondus server, and then they are destroyed. They are removed after so much time. So no one is seeing those videos except for your instructor. So you can feel assured that they are, that your privacy is being maintained. Okay, that's really important for you to know. Let's move on here. Now, Respondus Lockdown Browser and Monitor can be a little tricky to use. And depending on the type of device you have, it can also be a little tricky to install. So we have created this Respondus Lockdown Browser and Monitor guide for students. You can scan the QR code and get access to that guide. You can also find that guide on the Blackboard Assist page. It'll tell you what Respondus Lockdown Browser is, what it does, why we use it, and the importance of academic integrity, right? That is honesty as you're a student here in school. Again, things like no cheating, no plagiarism, no using unauthorized use of AI, things of that nature. So we do talk about that and the consequences of that. But we also give you the link for downloading Respondus Lockdown Browser to install it onto your computer or your device. There is no charge to use Respondus Lockdown Browser. Distance Learning pays that fee. And you cannot use Respondus Lockdown Browser on a phone, a mobile device. You can use Lockdown Browser on Macs, on PCs, whether it's a desktop or a laptop, and you can use it on an iPad. However, your instructor in the settings has to make sure they check that little iPad box. So if you are someone who uses an iPad and you get a message saying that the settings need to be enabled for iPad, please let your instructor know immediately so they can enable those settings, okay? This Lockdown Browser guide also shows you how to download and install the Lockdown Browser for different types of devices. Oh, Chromebooks, I forgot about Chromebooks. Chromebooks are also a little bit of a different case. So our guide shows you all of that, how to install it for different types of devices, and even how to take the test using Respondus. And we even provide some test taking tips for making sure that your videos are not flagged for possible cheating. Even if your video is flagged for possible cheating, it doesn't mean that you were cheating. Okay, I want to make that very, very clear. Sometimes things happen out of control. For example, if you are a student parent and you're taking your test and your child walks into the room all of a sudden to ask you when dinner is, the video is going to flag 2 people in the screen. But when your instructor reviews that video, they're going to see that it was just your child innocently walking in to the room and you kind of ushering them out so that you can complete your test. That is not cheating. That's called real life. It happens all the time. We all experienced that during the pandemic. So we've kind of come to expect those kinds of things to happen. So please rest assured as students that your instructors are looking at these videos and understanding that those kinds of things do happen. Okay. All right, let's move on here. There is a Blackboard app that you can download for your phones. It is available for Android and iPhones. The Blackboard app is a free download. You don't have to pay for it. And through that app, you can access your courses. So you can complete some coursework through your phone, but as I mentioned earlier, that's not ideal. You want to give yourself more space to complete your work, but in a pinch, if you need to submit something, let's say you're stuck at the airport because your flight is late and you know that discussion board is due, you can certainly get on your phone and do that. And it's great for sending your instructor course messages or to even check on your grades. So the app is great for doing quick little things in your course, but you don't want to rely on the phone app to complete everything in your course because, as I mentioned earlier, you cannot use Respondus Lockdown Browser on your mobile device. So you want to be very, very careful with that. Okay, so don't rely on your phones to take your online courses. That's the bottom line there. Okay, this is what the app looks like, the tile for the app. Let me confirm that that hasn't changed. I'm looking at my own phone. And nope, it still looks the same. It's right now a white circle with that A for Anthology. That's the company that owns Blackboard. So the tile, the app looks very similar to that. So it's a free download. And do you ever have any questions about the app, whether or not you're downloading the right app, give us a call at Distance Learning, come by our office or visit our virtual office, and we'd be happy to help you. EPCC email. So EPCC email is overseen by the IT department. And I know I said earlier that we are not part of the IT department. So you might be wondering why I'm asking you to check your EPCC email. Well, because it's very important. EPCC email is an official form of communication at the college that is in our policies and procedures here at the college. So I encourage you as a college student to check it often. And I know as college students, we're not used to email. We live our lives through our phones and texting. By the way, you can get your EPCC email through your phone also. But we want you to check your email often because, one, you get lots of important college information through your college email. Announcements, information about events that are happening at the college, financial aid, the registrar's office, the department that handles graduation. They all might be trying to contact you through your email to give you some really important information. So it's really important that you check your college email. Don't forget to use proper email etiquette when you're emailing with instructors or other people at the college. Always put a proper subject heading, address the people you are addressing, dear professor or good morning, ma'am, whatever it happens to be. If you don't know exactly who you're addressing, you can simply say to whom it may concern. Okay? You always want to make sure you give all the information that's important. Sometimes at distance learning, we receive emails asking for help, but we don't have enough information to be able to help. Perfect example was this morning. A student contacting saying they had trouble opening a page in Blackboard. But that's all they said. They didn't give us the name of the course, the CRN of the course, or all the information that we needed to be able to help. So whenever, especially you're asking for help from someone at the college, make sure you're giving them all the information they possibly need to be able to look you up in the system, look up the course in the system so that they can offer you proper support. Okay. But the other reason I bring up email is because email is closely tied to Blackboard. Okay. Especially when it comes to something called submission receipts. In Blackboard, anytime you submit an assignment or a quiz or a test, you get a little pop-up window that says you've successfully submitted that work. That's called a submission receipt. You also get a copy of that submission receipt in your EPCC email. Okay. So when I was young, many, many moons ago, when I was a young student, we used to joke about the dog eating our homework. If we forgot our homework or we didn't do our homework, we would joke that our dog ate our homework. Well, that doesn't really happen anymore, although it's very possible that your dog chews on your iPad or your laptop. But now it's Blackboard ate my homework. I promise I turned it in. There must be an error in Blackboard. Even if there was an error in Blackboard, you will receive a submission receipt. So that receipt is the proof that you submitted something. And should your instructor say, hey, Patricia, you didn't submit your homework, you can say, Professor, I have a receipt. I did submit something. And then if the professor says, that's strange, it's not coming out on my end, then both of you come to distance learning so we can figure out what happened. Because Blackboard isn't perfect. Technology isn't perfect. Things can possibly happen. It's rare, but they can happen. So perhaps Blackboard did eat your homework. We don't know for sure. So those receipts are very, very important. Don't delete those receipts from your EPCC email. Okay. One more thing I want to say about submission receipts. If the assignment requires you to upload something, an essay, a research paper, a PowerPoint, or a spreadsheet that your instructor is requiring you to submit, you need to know that that submission receipt will also have a file size. Okay, so if you submitted an essay that's about 4 or 5 pages long, it'll say 25 KBs. That's how big your file is. If your submission receipt says 0, that's an indication to your instructor that you hit that submit button, but you never attached anything. And that's not a technical issue. That's a user issue. You made the mistake of not submitting your essay because it says 0. You never attached anything. And at that point, it's up to your instructor whether or not they want to allow you to resubmit again. But you need to know that if it's something that has to be attached, your instructor will know whether you did or did not attach something. So I wanted to make sure that that was very, very clear. Okay. All right, let's move on here. Distance learning is on social media. We have Instagram and Thread accounts, and I want to encourage you to follow both our accounts. We put important information, things like closures of the campus, or if our department is perhaps participating in a college-wide event, things of that nature. We give helpful tips for students on on social media. We'll post reminders like, have you cleared out your browser history today? Have you updated your device? Those kinds of reminders. So I want to encourage you to follow us on Instagram and Threads. Here are those QR codes if you want to look for us. So it's just another way to keep in touch with us. And you can possibly, if you need to submit a quick question to us, we can certainly take a look at that. But really the best way to communicate with us is through our official channels, which are our phone, face-to-face in our office, or through our virtual office. Okay. All right. So we're here to help you. We're here to support you. Our goal is your success. And this is both for faculty and for students, all users of Blackboard, including staff who use tools like Class Collaborate. We are here to support you. So again, you can call us or visit our virtual office. Our virtual office via Class Collaborate is extremely helpful because sometimes when you're trying to explain a technical issue over the phone, it's hard to picture it. Blackboard is so visual. It really helps if we can see what's happening on your screen or on your device. So our virtual office really is the best way to help support you because we can see what the issue is. We are available Monday through Friday. 915 is 831-3111 is our phone number, and we're here 8 to 5 p.m. Now, we only have one office, and that's at Valle Verde. So for anyone who is at another campus like Mission del Paso or Northwest on the opposite ends of the county, unfortunately, we don't have a physical presence on your campuses, but we're just a phone call away. Just join our virtual office and we're happy to assist you. If you happen to be at the Valle Verde campus, you're more than welcome to bring your laptop, your iPad, come up to our office if you're experiencing some technical issues. We are at the Valle Verde campus in the C building, the building with the subway, and the library and the CSD, and all those great offices. We're on the 4th floor. I like to call it the presidential suite. We're on the 4th floor, C406, next to EPCC Cares. And you're welcome to come by if you need some assistance. We have coffee, we have tea, we have water, we have snacks and some candy. We're always here to help. That includes faculty and staff too. If you want a cup of coffee, you're more than welcome to come by. Okay. All right. So again, these are the technologies that distance learning oversees: Blackboard, Respondus, UJA, Collaborate, Smarter, Measure. Students, you may not know this, but because you have Blackboard accounts, you also have UJA accounts. UJA is a software that allows you to create videos. So if any of your courses, especially like Speak courses, require you to create videos and submit them as part of an assignment, you can use UJA. I'm going to show you where in just a moment you can access some of those UJA resources to help you learn how to use UJA. Okay. And this is a QR code to access our virtual office. I'm going to show you in just a moment another way to easily access our virtual office. Okay. And that Bitmoji is supposed to be me, and I look better in Bitmoji form than I do in real life. Now, there are some questions that you may have about your Blackboard course that need to go to your instructor, that need to go to your professor, because we at Distance Learning may not be able to answer those questions because they're very specific to your instructor. For example, if you have questions about coursework or instructions and directions for assignments, your instructor has the answers for those. Unfortunately, we don't. If there's missing or unavailable course content, for example, your instructor says, hey everyone, your quiz is due tonight, but you can't see the quiz in the course, you need to contact your instructor. Perhaps your instructor forgot to make it available to you. Okay, if you're having technical issues that keep you from submitting your work, you need to contact your instructor immediately. And I mean immediately, at that moment. Don't wait for the next day or past the due date or a week later. Communication, timely communication is really, really important. If your instructor knows ahead of time that you're having issues, they're more likely to help you by giving you an extension, not days later. That's very important for all students to know. Okay, if you're having issues with publisher content, access codes, or websites that your instructor wants you to access, Unfortunately, we don't have back-end access to those systems to be able to troubleshoot them for you. So if you're having issues with Pearson or Cengage, you need to contact Pearson or Cengage because we don't have access to those systems. If you have questions about required course materials, when you're supposed to meet with your instructor, if it's a face-to-face or a hybrid course, what kind of other software you're required to use, all of those questions need to go to your instructor, okay? Because again, we don't have answers to those questions, okay? Again, if you need help with certain technologies or issues at the college, you will need to talk to IT about it. So your login credentials, if you need to reset your password, some of you may not know that IT requires us to change our passwords about every 6 months. I know it's annoying, but it's meant to help keep the college safe from, ransomware and all those horrible things that happen in the tech world. So if you have issues with your password, you need to go to IT, or the best bet is actually to go to a computer lab on any campus. They'll help you really easy there. Multi-factor authentication. You have questions about My EPCC, Banner, Teams, Microsoft 365, your OneDrive, or if you've checked out a computer from the computer lab, all those issues need to be addressed with the IT department at 6440. But your best bet really is to go in person to a computer lab because you're going to get the help you need immediately. Again, sometimes with tech issues, it can be really hard to help someone over the phone. It's not always that easy. Okay. All right. So I really do want to wish you a wonderful semester. But presentation's not over yet. I do want to do kind of some live demo if I can. So you should be able to see Blackboard right now. I just want to show you a couple of things. So you may have noticed that the interface for your Blackboard base navigation has changed. Base navigation or ultra base navigation, UBN, is the first thing you see when you log into Blackboard. Now for students, this looks a little different. This is what the dashboard for instructors looks like. For students, your page looks a little bit different. But I do want you to notice that this menu on the left has been compressed a little bit, and your profile is now at the top of your menu. Your profile is at the top, okay? Now, I do want to make it very clear that everyone who has a Blackboard account has a profile page, but it is not a public profile page. Blackboard is not social media. The only person who can see the profile page is you, okay? You are the only person who can see your profile page. Again, no one else can see it. That's where you can upload a profile picture, things of that nature. I do want to point out the Assist tab. You see this little rocket ship right here? This is called the Assist tab. And it does exactly what the title is, assist. It's meant to help you. So if you notice, we have some links at the top if you need access to the bookstore, to counseling, but you also have all these other resources that are available to you in the click of a button. And I want to point a couple of them out. See this one right here, clear your browser history? That teaches you how to clear your browser history. All you have to do is click on that and it'll open a PDF. And depending on what kind of browser you're using, it gives you step-by-steps on how to do that. EPCC Cares, for example, if you want information on that. Our handbook, remember I mentioned our handbook? It's right here, the Learning with Blackboard Student Handbook, and right underneath there is the Lockdown Browser and Monitor Guide for Students. Now, if you ever try clicking on any of these links and they're not working, please contact us immediately at Distance Learning so we can look into it. Sometimes the links can expire, as you can see here. I already need to tell my team to fix this one, and so we need to fix those immediately, but we can do that for you. You also have lots of other resources here for you. Okay, so if we say go to the Assist tab, this is what we're talking about. You also have some resources here under Resources and Info. If you click on that tab, and let me view this as, let me see if I can view it as a student, the very first thing at the top of that page, of course, you'll see this pretty banner with the Vibe of the Campus. It says right here, speak to a distance learning staff member for assistance with Blackboard. And immediately you see the link to join our virtual office. So if you're having issues with Blackboard, you don't have to leave Blackboard at all. Just go to that resources and info tab in the menu on the left, and you see the link right there. You also see our phone number, and you have a link to the distance learning webpage. If you go to epcc.edu, the college website, and you simply search DLSS, you're also going to see a link for our virtual office there with that green Get Connected button. Okay, but look at what else you have available to you. UJA resources for students. If you are being required to use UJA to submit assignments, to record a video, you have some resources here that teach you how to use UJA to record those assignments. And if you need assistance, again, you give us a call at Distance Learning. We are here to help you with that. If I click this Show All, I'll see additional links. There's also 24/7 support for UJA. So if it is the weekend and you're having trouble with UJA and you know distance learning is not available on Saturday, you can call that number toll free and someone at UJA will help you with your UJA concerns. Okay, so they are available there for you also. The last thing I want to mention before I open it up to questions is the course interface. So I'm going to go here. This is just a practice course. This is not a real course because I don't want to violate anyone's privacy, but this is a course that I have set up for my classes. And this is what the interface looks like a little bit. It's a little bit different. For those of you who took courses in the fall, starting the second week of January, they looked a little bit different. The banner is now full screen. That purple X is gone. So now if you want to leave this course, you can hit that home button and it takes you back to the activity page. Okay, it takes you back to the activity page. But if you want to go to another course with this new interface, you have this little button up here that says courses, and you have this little arrow. This is called the course switcher, the course switcher. And when you click on that little arrow, the last 4 courses you access will be listed here. So all you have to do is very easily click into that course and I just snapped my finger, sorry for that. You immediately go into the course, just like that. I can also go here and switch back to that course. That's why this is called the course switcher. Now, let's say you're taking 5 courses. This only shows 4 courses, but you want to see all your courses. Then you go to View All. When you go to View All, it takes you to your Courses tab, and there you'll be able to see all your courses. So that's one of those changes in the interface that I actually happen to like a lot. Again, the banner was also moved to the top of the page, and you have your course information here. And if I give you an example of a live course, the CRN of the course, which is that registration number, is here, the name of the course. And as you scroll down your page to work on your coursework, you'll notice this navigation bar at the top, it floats with you. It floats. So you don't have to scroll all the way to the top to get to your discussions. That floats with you. So even when you're all the way down here in week 8, you can go to your announcements, your discussions, whatever it happens to be. So some minor edits to the course interface, but really, really helpful. The biggest edit that Blackboard, or the biggest outcome Blackboard wanted from this slight change in the user interface, is more space for both faculty and students to work with. It just gives you more real estate in your course, okay? And more updates are continuing to come in Blackboard. Updates are released every first Thursday of the month. Some of them are minor, you may not notice them. A lot of the updates affect faculty more than anything for the way that they teach, but some of these updates also affect students. And if you want to keep up to date with those updates in Blackboard, I want to encourage you to enroll yourself in the Blackboard student tutorial. I believe it is this one right here, the orientation. You can self-enroll into this orientation, and our handbook, our student handbook, shows you how to do that. Or you can simply email us at dlss@epcc.edu and ask us to enroll you into the tutorial or the orientation, and we can do that. There's a lot of great information in this tutorial. One of the things that's really neat about this is that it'll also show you how to use UJA, and we have some practice assignments in here, especially when it comes to Lockdown Browser. We have some practice assignments that allow you to take a practice quiz with Lockdown Browser. It's not for a grade. It's mostly for you to check and test your technology to make sure that it's working. So you'll have access to this tutorial. We post announcements and reminders for you, and it's just a great way to keep in touch with distance learning. And again, we update this tutorial anytime there's major updates in Blackboard, so you can get the latest in what's happening in Blackboard also. Okay, so I know it says here there are things in the gradebook, but those are because there's just some practice assignments so that you can get a handle of how to use some of these tools in Blackboard. They're not really for a grade. Again, it's just practice. Okay, that is the student orientation or tutorial. Many of you may already be enrolled in it, but if you're not, again, email us at dlss@epcc.edu and we'd be happy to enroll you. Okay, make sure you email us from your EPCC email, because that'll allow us to get your EPCC username so that we can enroll you into the course. You should not be conducting college business with your personal email. Always use your college email, okay? All right, I've spoken more than enough. Any questions from anyone? About Blackboard, about Collaborate, UJA, Respondus, online courses? Okay. So again, distance learning is here to help support your success at the college. And anytime you experience any kind of hiccups, speed bumps, any barriers on the road with regard to Blackboard, please reach out to us immediately so that we can help you overcome those. Because again, our goal is your success. You are very welcome. You're very welcome. And by the way, don't forget, if you're taking an 8-week course, today is the last day to drop for 8-week mini 1. Okay. All right, I'll stick around for a few more minutes if anyone has questions.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cadena. Okay, so in the meantime, we'll just wait to see if anybody has any questions. And if anybody does, they can go ahead and turn on their mic or use the chat box. For now, we would like to thank everyone for being a wonderful audience. And thank you so much, Ms. Cadena, for the wonderful presentation. Please remember that these sessions are recorded. So if you'd like to review anything or share anything from this presentation, those recorded sessions can definitely help. We have shared the Tejano Passport link so that everyone may receive their points for coming in today. And before you all leave, I want to share our TVE sessions for next week. We'll be back with Happy Math Hour at 11 a.m. for Math 1332. We'll cover conditional and related statements, symbolic arguments, and Euler diagrams. And Math 2412, we'll cover verifying trigonometric identities and implementing trigonometric formulas. Our 1 p.m. session next week will be by the EPCC Mental Health Committee with Christian Salas, and he will be presenting Learning to Love Yourself. Thank you all for coming in today. Thank you so much again, Ms. Cadena, and we hope everyone has a restful and safe weekend. If anyone has any questions, feel free to use the chat box or your mic. We hope to see everyone again for Tejano Virtual Events.